What? What? Huh? It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
Newsy news.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
It's so newsy.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast. We say the newsiest news you've ever heard in your entire young adult life.
Okay.
Hi, Fecal Mortenson back here with the Newsiest News Podcast here. I'm here with my good friend Walt, Mischievous. Walt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Fecal, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a great day. Lots of news stories, lots of hot news stories, big ones.
Lots of big stories out today. Big news day.
Yeah, it's a huge news day. You have any good ones, or?
Yeah, a bit of a little bit of business news out of Bloomberg this evening. Lego, familiar with the company Lego?
The building blocks?
Building blocks and whatnot. Apparently Lego's looking to replace sort of the Lego people that they have with actually mini humans. They're currently working with Elon Musk on a type of shrinking technology to kind of shrink actually human people into Lego type people.
Wow.
They're thinking this will be completed by late 2020.
That early?
That early. They're onto some serious breakthroughs here.
This is mind-blowing. First initial thoughts are, who's volunteering for this, or is it people who just want to be are interested, or they want to be mini forever? Is it reversible? A lot of questions.
It's not reversible. They do have a few volunteers. Apparently, big New Mexico population is very pro this. It's a big hot topic in New Mexico right now. They have a lot of people willing to shrink themselves. New Mexico, they do.
Everything's small in New Mexico.
Everything's small. It's a big Lego community. They enjoy playing with Legos. They kind of idolize it in a way.
Yep.
So a lot of them, and kind of, the Santa Fe area, they're volunteering for this at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. When I was in Santa Fe, I visited the Lego exhibit. It was truly incredible. It was something I've never seen. So, it's part of their culture. They've grown up with Legos. It's part of their culture,
It's part of their history. They built, the Pueblo type housing.
It kind of sprouts from Lego building blocks, or the Lego.
From that, early Pueblo housing was actually exclusively Lego based.
It makes you wonder what came first, Legos or the Pueblo houses. So honestly, this is probably a dream come true for some of those residents. They now get to live in the Lego land as many people.
Yep. They many of them hope to. A lot of legal issues around this. There's never been a human shrunk to this size.
That's pretty miniature.
There's never been a human kind of inserted into a children's toy, to be honest. They've all just kind of lived out their days as actual people.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the having actual humans into the children's toy issue here. This seems inhumane to shrink humans and put them in. I'm assuming they're going to be in the cardboard box because they come with the toy. So will they have a food supply in there? Who knows if they get purchased or not, how long the shelf life is going to be. Will people die because of this? And when they're played with the children, will the children become attached to them? Will they use them as toys? Will they start talking to them? Do they have to talk? Can they not talk? Do they have to act as Lego people, or?
Yeah, a lot of questions there. First things first, people will definitely die.
Right.
It's
that's what
that's
everything.
something they're anticipating.
You die walking across the street.
Maybe a few people are going to be packaged for shelf life. Let's be honest, Legos can sit there at Toys R Us or Walmart. They can sit there for a number of days, even months. So
thousands of days.
Of course, humans will die, but a certain amount will live on and be able to live their dream. That's kind of the main focus right now on those few people that might actually live. As far as the talking, interacting, that's currently being negotiated with the Lego Union as well as with the state of New Mexico. They're currently in negotiations about mini human Lego people rights.
You just brought up a whole other issue there. What if these mini humans never make it to the Lego box? Then what? Then what are their rights? Do they have the same rights as us, as mini people? How would they use the same things we use? Do we now have to manufacture mini, utensils, chairs, products?
Yep.
Everything. It just seems like a crazy issue.
It's a crazy issue. It's definitely a crazy issue. A lot of businesses are kind of taking advantage of this. Recently, I just found an article about IKEA looking to expand into the, the mini...
Tap into that market,
Tap into that market of mini humans. So they're experimenting into mini couches, mini beds, mini file cabinets, things of that nature.
Mini pens, mini pencils. This could be the beginning of a whole new revolution of supplies. A mini revolution. I'm saying mini revolution, but really a big revolution of many things.
Yep. Exactly. They're calling it the big mini revolution.
I mean, I'm glad you brought that story up because
Yep.
I was actually unaware of that.
It's a big one. Like I said, it's not looking to take effect until late 2020. So it's a
We
little
have
bit of
time.
time.
We have time.
But anyways, do you want to get caught up on Legos? Do you have any stories?
Yeah, I got a great story out of the airlines here. You familiar with airlines? You fly frequent flyer?
Yep. Yeah. Currently have a few frequent flyer miles, as you'd say.
Well, so I hope you don't fly United, or maybe you do. I don't know. It's up to you what you decide from the story. But United Airlines, it'll no longer allow people to sit in window seats, and apparently they're not allowing it because of safety issues. Because the window is right there. Say if someone cracks it, they could fly right out, and who knows where they'll end up. But in order to save or maintain costs, they're selling seats to have people sit in the aisles. So now there's people sitting in the aisles of United Airlines. It's causing quite a ruckus for the airline workers, the
Stewardess, flight attendant.
The flight attendants of United are possibly considering strike. If you have to go to the bathroom, you're in the front of the plane. I mean, it's just talk about a hassle. So I mean,
Talk about it.
window seats are no longer able to be purchased. You can purchase aisle seats. Your thoughts? You're a frequent flyer.
I'm definitely a frequent flyer, more so with JetBlue than United.
Okay. Okay.
Initial thoughts, this seems like a lot of waste. First things first,
Well, it's
is
a
there just going to
safety
be
issue.
empty seats? A lot of thoughts, I guess. What are they going to do with the empty seats? Is this that much of an issue that people are cracking windows, sort of flying out of windows on a regular basis? Aisle crowdedness?
Yeah, it's a big issue.
One.
It's a big
What
issue.
anything on those?
I mean, the aisle crowdedness is something that's inexplicable. It's you can't maintain that. Something's got to be done about that. They can't. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but I do have an answer for you for the empty seats there. What they're considering is putting, board games in some seats, even in the bigger seats, considering putting Twister there, kind of livening up the flight experience. So while it has some downers, it has some uppers as well. I mean, games are just the beginning.
Yeah, wow, game. I didn't even,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of games. So obviously something I should have thought of. Obviously they can replace seats with games. That's
I was gonna say
that's
that.
kind of a no-brainer. Anyways, you mentioned Twister. My
Yeah.
first thought is there possibly Jenga? Yay or nay?
No, yay. There's there's all types of board games. The interesting thing about Jenga is it's probably the most requested game in the air. However, it's also probably not the best game to play while on a bumpy airplane. No one's even been able to set the game up. Yet everyone wants to play. So
first thought
it's kind of this give and take.
it's give and take. It's Jenga upon takeoff, Jenga upon landing. It's going to be hard to set up. We all know that. Maybe turbulence is thrown in. What does that affect the game? Do people get angry?
People
Do people
get
get angry?
upset? Do they get
Upset? I mean, they're losing a game for reasons beyond their control. Turbulence, takeoff, landing. How do they deal with that?
That's really the real issue. I mean, these people are setting up games that they're involved in. They're heavily involved in. They've practiced over the years. There's a lot going into this game. There's a lot of skill. There's a lot of, hand stability that goes into this. And it's being broken up by turbulence. I mean, we do have the pilots announcing. They come on the intercom. They say, everyone playing Jenga, we're about to experience some turbulence here. So you might want to play a little quicker, speed up the pace of the game. There's a lot of variables that go into this.
There's a lot of variables. I mean, Jenga is definitely a big one of this. Space utilization of the airplane is definitely another big one. Window suction rate, window suction force, that's another big one.
That's a huge one.
Has United been experienced issues with this, or is this just kind of a precaution?
It's really a precaution, but it's for our safety. So they're not doing it for no reason. They're doing it to protect us.
They're not doing it out of spite.
They're not doing it out of spite, like say an airline like JetBlue might do. I don't want to offend any frequent flyers of JetBlue, but
yeah, no, I am a frequent flyer, but
mix it up. Take United to see what the experience is. Maybe it could be a better experience. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out in the coming months.
We'll find out. Yeah, it's expected to launch this movement within the next few months. But you have any stories, any other stories for me or for our audience here?
Actually, a story out of Hollywood. Hollywood, big movies,
Love
big
these
showbiz.
Love these stories.
Apparently, there's a new coalition being formed to try to get more dogs into Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs.
I heard this.
For a long time, I've felt that they've been discriminated against. Big time movie execs. There's a lot of manpower behind this movement. Some prominent dogs in the Hollywood scene, such as Air Bud, Lassie. the entire cast of Homeward Bound is in on this initiative, as well as Goofy and Scooby-Doo, who typically stay out of the limelight on these type of issues.
Yeah.
But they're really pushing for more dogs in Hollywood.
Wow, so even Scooby-Doo, I mean, he usually stays way out of
Scooby-Doo
anything
is
political.
not known to get into politics.
My initial thoughts are, "Roar," but I mean, that's just my initial thoughts. When you get down to brass tacks, this is something that should have been done years ago. We're in a state where everyone should be equal, no matter what. We're talking dogs, we're talking cats, we're talking humans, we're talking inanimate objects. Everything should be equal, and it really starts with dogs, if you ask me. So they're taking the leap here. Scooby-Doo, though.
Scooby-Doo is the big wild card there.
It's the big wild card. I never would have expected this from Scooby.
No, Scooby-Doo, he came out with a press release, actually, on this issue, alongside with Shaggy and the whole gang there. He said, a prepared statement, he said, you know what, typically I like to stay out of politics and focus on my career as a trained actor. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the lack of dogs in Hollywood and really push for this in the future. We've come a long way as a species.
No, they have.
Also known as man's best friend, but still second rate when it comes to Hollywood movies. Reactions to the statement?
He is a trained actor. I believe he went to Juilliard. Graduated a year early, actually. He was so good. But my initial reactions to the statement are, good for him. I'm glad he finally made a political stand on such an important issue.
It's definitely garnered some immediate reactions. There's a few looking for some movie remakes. I know they're definitely looking to remake a couple shows, a couple movies, one of which is The Office with an all-dog cast.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be successful? Do you think there'll be too much bark, no bite, more or less?
No, I think it'll be successful. I really do. I'm a huge Office fan, obviously. It's an excellent show. But everyone knows a dog in The Office, everyone likes it better. Everyone likes the Office experience better when there's a dog in it. I mean, I've been in offices where dogs were allowed. And to be quite honest, it was annoying. The dog was barking the whole time. But for a show?
For a show, it's a hit. Let's be honest.
It's a hit.
I mean, you get dogs playing poker. You get dogs catching a bone.
You got dogs
playing fetch.
You got dogs using a calculator. I mean, it's what we all want.
What more can you ask for?
Why, as a society, would we allow ourselves to not see what we want? This is what we want. Dogs in the office. Dogs using a copier. I mean, really? That's all we need.
This is what we want. Dogs in the office. Dogs moving along in society. Dogs making a difference.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see
in
the coming days. But yeah, you got maybe one more for me?
Yeah, I got another one here. This is kind of an interesting one that I just read, actually. Very hot off the press. I mean, speaking of dogs, raccoons are now being adopted as pets in America. So while on one hand it's good, it's also very bad because rabies has now become widespread in America. It's spread throughout. Every state rabies rates have really gone up a lot.
What's the adoption rate of raccoons right now?
The adoption rate is 5 to 1. So for every 5 raccoons that normally you would say, hey, get out of here.
Maybe get or get.
Maybe say, hey, get going.
Hey,
get out of here.
Hey, get out of here, raccoon. Get out of that trash.
Hey, keep walking, raccoon. Hey, get out of that trash, raccoon. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, why don't you come on in here, have a glass of milk? Hey, why don't you come on in here, let me adopt you? So now a lot of people are adopting these animals, which, the National Wildlife Reservation is saying it's not really safe.
They're rabid animals. They're wild.
They're wild. They should be wild, but apparently they make good pets.
This speaks to a bigger issue for me. Where do you separate wild from humanity?
Yep. I knew you were going to go there because it is a big issue. I mean, these are wild animals. They should be in the wild. We shouldn't take them out of their natural habitat for our own benefit. It's good for us. It's bad for them. It's also kind of good for them because they get free food. They don't have to search for food.
They don't have to search as much. Initial reaction, what did the raccoons as a whole think of this? Do they have a leader in charge? Has he made a public statement?
Yeah, there is one raccoon leader here. His name is Benjamin Smith here, I think. His name is Benjamin Smith. Yeah, he goes by Benny.
Benny.
He has an initial statement here. I actually have it right here. He says, we the raccoons, while wild, accept this pet adoption into the human world. While we enjoy being wild here and rummaging through your trash, eating your old food, half-eaten apples, vegetables, empty popcorn bowls, things of that nature, we would really rather have a full apple or maybe, even a steak. That's kind of the end of the statement there. But what his point is while they are wild at heart, I mean, why not accept this? It's just good for them.
It's good for them. It's good for humans as a measure of goodwill, as a measure of companionship,
Compassion.
with another species. For a long time, dogs have been man's best friend.
It was dogs, and look at them now. Now they're having their own rights.
They're having their own rights. They've skyrocketed.
They've
Is
skyrocketed.
it time for raccoons to become man's best friend?
That's the real question. I mean, it all relates here. Dogs are becoming more like citizens, more like people. They've evolved. Is it time to replace them?
Is it time to replace? Dogs have gained citizenship. They've gained the right to vote. They've gained the right to peacefully assemble. Is it time for raccoons?
It might be that time. I've already tried to adopt a raccoon unsuccessfully, but hopefully sometime in the future. It's a thing now, so I can do it.
We all heard about that. I'm very sorry, Fecal.
Yeah,
I know that meant a lot to you to try to adopt a
did.
raccoon.
It did. I have bad credit, so they wouldn't allow it. But in a few years, you can always build credit up. So
You can build credit up. You can get a raccoon. That's what we always say in America.
You build credit up, you get a raccoon. It's as easy as that.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
Newsy news.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
It's
Yeah,
so newsy.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast. We say the newsiest news you've ever heard in your entire young adult life.
Okay.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
Newsy news.
I almost ran out of breath saying that.
It's so
but
newsy.
This is the newsiest news. It is the newsiest news. The newsiest news you've ever heard in your entire life.
Okay.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
Newsy news.
It's the Newsiest News Podcast.
It's so
Yeah,
newsy.
It's the newsiest news. I said the newsiest news you've ever heard in your entire life, and everything you hear
Okay.
is true.
We speak truth. We speak the real truth and nothing but the truth. We need to get out the real facts out there. There's so much fake news and stuff. We speak real.